Business is booming, but you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think spreadsheets were just part of it. Ugh. But real-time cash flow? Wow. Invoices that chase themselves? Even better. Books that automate? That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No spreadsheet in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search Xero for your free trial. Conditions apply.
We all belong outside. We're drawn to nature, whether it's the recorded sounds of the ocean we doze off to, or the succulents that adorn our homes. Nature makes all of our lives, well, better. Despite all this, we often go about our busy lives removed from it. But the outdoors is closer than we realize. With AllTrails, you can discover trails nearby and explore confidently. With offline maps and on-trail navigation, download the free app today and make the most of your summer with AllTrails.
So welcome to the Oral Health Podcast, where throughout National Smile Month, we're taking the opportunity to learn about the ways that things could be changing over the next sort of 50 years, and also how far things have came in different areas of dentistry. So as we focus on dental technology and the role of dental technicians, who better to talk about this than someone who is very experienced in the field? So we've got Jade here today, and I'm going to let Jade introduce herself. If you want to just take a second to say who you are, what you do.
Yeah, thank you, Sophie. Thanks so much for having me. My name's Jade Rich. I work in a dental lab in Edinburgh called STC Lab. I've worked in dentistry for just under 15 years, and I also sit in the council for the Dental Technologists Association.
Amazing. So let's just take it straight back to basics then. What actually is a dental technician? Because when I think about it, as someone that's not sort of dentally trained, my view is, I guess, a little bit pigeonholed, as I just think they make dentures. And that's kind of where I think maybe many people sit, but you actually do a lot more than that, don't you?
Yeah, so we've all heard of dentists and dental nurses. A dental technician is just really another member of the dental team. We primarily work in a dental lab and use impressions and scans to construct dental appliances. So, like you said, that is dentures, but also, crowns and bridges, orthodontic braces. It's quite an artistic job. We're getting to create new things, and that can vary from, those bright white veneers that you see, or down to more natural teeth, so that they can blend in with what a patient would already have. So, little cracks and discolorations on things like that. You also get something called a clinical dental technician, and that's a dental technician that's gone on to do further training, and they can see and provide dentures directly to patients. So it's a really exciting job.
So what goes into, say, if we talk about dentures for a second first, like what goes into making a pair of dentures or a denture appliance for a person? Yeah.
Yeah, so starting from kind of your first appointment, a patient would go in and get like initial impressions taken. So things have progressed quite a lot in dentistry and dental technology. So you would go, you could get impressions taken. So we've kind of all had impressions taken at some point, those sort of like gloopy things that sit in your mouth for quite a while. Or nowadays, most dentists are really taking scans. So that's just like loads and loads of pictures of your mouth that all kind of stitched together to give the technician a detailed scan of your mouth. So depending on what kind of route goes down, then that would come to the lab. We would then either make like special trays and bite blocks. So it's a lot of things about just recording how your mouth looks. And then, for example, a lot of technicians, I would say maybe 20 years ago, most technicians were sitting at their bench, very hands-on. For example, we use things called the lost wax technique. So that's really you making building up a crown or denture in wax. You would then cast that wax in plaster, melt the wax out, and then you can, for a crown example, you could then use that void, so the lost wax, to then push in, you've got like metal or ceramic, to whatever you want that crown to be made in. And this has really been going around since, Egyptian times. Not a huge amount has changed since since then in dental technology, whereas recently with scans and things like that, you it's changing now. I would say in the last like decade or so, we're really getting more digital. So it's just kind of a lot of to and fro between the dentist and the technician. And we would then, for a denture, you would set the teeth up in wax, or you would get a try-in first, and then it allows you to see what your teeth would look like. If they were you liked the shape and the size, and the patient and you, the dentist, would be able to tell you what you think. And then we go back and then finish the denture. So it's a few different appointments for things like that. For example, if it was just a crown, you wouldn't really know where that denture went. So it would go to a technician in a lab, and then it would come back. So it would just be the one appointment to get something like a crown. But a dentures take a few more appointments, and the technician will see a bit more of that.
And so with things like you've sort of alluded to, like the scanners and things that are getting much more popular, how different is that for you guys then in labs and when you're receiving these scans versus getting like actual impressions that you then have to mold and things? Does it make it easier, or is it just a different way of working, or?
Yeah, it's definitely a different way of working. There's kind of two parts to doing it digitally. So you've got CAD and then CAM. So your CAD is your computer aided design, and that's when we're using computer software to digitally design appliances. And this allows for much better precision. It's usually faster results, and because digital storage, it reduces a lot of waste. So, for example, we're not needing to cast up stone models, so we don't need to store them for as long because it can be done digitally. The same with like impressions, we're not needing to take impressions, so we're saving on wastage. And it also, the main thing really is it reduces human error because we've got a lot more computer software. It's just easier to kind of make things without human error, so we get more predictable results doing that. Then on the CAM side of things, so that's actually computer-aided manufacturing, and that's bringing your design to life. So that's the milling, the 3D printing, and that's a lot more accurate as well. And again, removes that human error.
When you guys are 3D printing, do you use just like a bog standard 3D printer, or is it like ones that have been made specifically for making things like dental appliances?
Yeah, so we wouldn't use filament, it's all resin. And the printers that we use are much more like, down to the micron for accuracy. So the printers are, yeah, I would say they were a lot more expensive than your hobby printers.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we're just getting more and more of them. I know in the lab we work, we've got like 6 now. So it's definitely that's how a lot of things are being printed. All your models and things are being printed. But yeah, it's the accuracy. It's definitely resin printers that are more accurate.
Yeah, the accuracy, but I imagine the speed as well. Like it makes you like it maybe takes less time to make a simple appliance with a 3D printer than it does sitting and molding and casting and doing all of the things that you traditionally do. Is that the case?
Yeah, absolutely. It takes less time. I mean, obviously there's a learning curve, but once you're doing that every day, it's far quicker to do things digitally. Also, you're able to then, fill up a printing 3D printer and leave it, let it do its thing overnight when, you're not working. So it saves that sort of time as well. So it's definitely it's nice to be able to let it do its thing, go home, and then in the morning, say you could have all your dentures milled or you could have it printed. Whereas if you were doing it kind of the lost wax technique, you would have to be there at every stage. So it's a lot more kind of labor intensive doing it that way.
Where does things like AI kind of come into dental technology? Are we at that stage yet, or are we not
Yeah.
necessarily?
So I think it's definitely an interesting time. AI is something that we're definitely seeing more and more of in life, not just in dentistry. Um, a lot of people in the dental world, have mixed feelings about AI. You've either got technicians that are like, oh, a bit nervous because it might be taking my job away,
Yeah.
or you've got technicians that are really excited because it's going to enhance your job and it's going to make things easier and better for your patients. Personally, I think we're on the cusp of it being something really, really good. But it's difficult in the sense that, dental appliances are custom made. There's no sort of one size fits all for a patient. It's very much tailored to patient, the teeth are different, things like that. So although the designs are getting better, that's kind of something that AI would be really useful to help you design crowns.
Hmm.
Um, it's not quite there yet that we found in our experience. Also, every technician will design slightly different. It's quite a tailored made, little technicians will have their little um, like tricks and tips. So you can kind of quite a personalized thing. I could recognize a denture that I've made opposed to like maybe my colleague, things like that. So it's
Hmm.
difficult for all technicians to agree on a design that they think's the best. So um, yeah, I mean, it's getting better and better every day. So I'm not saying that it's never going to be used. I imagine it's got amazing uses, but at
Hmm.
the moment we're kind of on that cusp again to see where it's going to take us. But it's definitely exciting things coming along. I've seen
Hmm.
it being used in more in the clinic for radiographs. AI can pick on things that you might not see with your eye. Again,
Hmm.
it's reducing that human error. So AI is really good for picking up like little nerves and things if you're looking at an X-rays in the clinics. Um, so yeah, it's not really a straightforward answer, but I think
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot more from AI in the future.
Hmm. It's like you said as well, it's very artistic what you guys do, right? So, of course, like everyone does things ever so slightly differently, and that's quite like a nice little perk, I guess, of when you're working on something like that. I don't know, I think it's going to be really interesting to watch kind of where it goes, but it's interesting to to hear you say that people have very mixed opinions on it. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I imagine it's sort of like everyone has their own
Yeah,
views and yeah.
yeah, exactly. I mean, personally, I really enjoy it. I like AI, in life,
Mm,
let alone in dentistry. But it's been around a lot longer than you think as well. AI's been kicking about for quite a while now, and it's just trying to get it tailored made to how you would best use it in your lab. So
hmm.
no, it's exciting. I like it.
Yeah, as well, I just wanted to maybe touch on the role that you guys play in like people's kind of day to day when they're at the dentist because it's not a role you necessarily see all of the time when you go in and you see all of the like the hygienist and the nurse and everyone kind
Mhm.
of there. But if you've like me, I had orthodontic appliances. They will have to have been made by someone. I've got friends that wear dentures. They'll have to have
Mhm.
been made by someone. So it's like important to highlight, I think, as well, the role that you guys play in everyday sort of patient outcomes and how important that is to get right. You guys are very, skilled, regulated professionals as well.
Mhm. Yeah, so I mean, it's not a profession that I think gets near enough publicity.
Mm,
I think that's also because it's progressed so much. It used to be very much a lab was just one guy sitting in a basement waxing up all these dentures and crowns, whereas now it's much more of a team event. Labs are getting much bigger and they're getting a lot more modernized with
hmm.
digital technologies. So yeah, it's really exciting to kind of come on and talk about it as well. Um, Nowadays we get a lot more, so you would probably never see your technician, but with bigger treatments, like people are going for implant crowns and implant bridges. That is really to get the best results. Your technician, the dentist really needs to trust the technician and the other way around. So in our lab, we would see people come in for shade matches because I mean, I don't want to say we do it better than the dentist, but we've got the materials there that we're actually making things from. And it's nice to get that shade match in the lab and have that conversation with the technician.
Hmm.
So we will see patients in our lab for shade matches and to discuss the design of their bridge. Can really sit down with people and tweak little teeth. Sometimes people would like their front teeth slightly more round or square, sharp edges, or they would like them to be a bit more bulbous. So we would sit down with patients more and more nowadays to be able to see and have that discussion on what they really like. And because everything's digital, they can see how it would look. We get a lot of pictures and videos of people, so we can digitally overlay the new smile with what they've got in their mouth, so they can
Hmm.
kind of see how it would look before. Um, before it gets fitted and make changes. Whereas back in the day, that wouldn't really be an option. You know, a dentist would just ask for a denture and then they would get it. And it, yeah, it would usually be fine. But now it's being able to just tailor that a lot more.
Hmm.
You can also, dental technicians have something that's called direct access. So if you've broken a denture, you can go to a lab and they can repair it for you. So it's good for that. I know things with like NHS waiting lists and things, it can take a bit longer to see repairs and things like that. So that's probably the only time you would really see a technician is if you're
Hmm.
doing a case like that and the dentist is working with your technician, or if you were going to go in for a denture repair or something like that. But
Hmm.
again, they're quite behind the scenes. Although, if you really wanted to see a lot more from your technician, there's a lot of people on Instagram and Facebook and things now that are just showing off a bit more of their work. So it's becoming a lot more mainstream to like know who your technician is and to see the work that they do. So
Hmm.
it's definitely, yeah, we've all come out from the basements.
Yeah. I know I follow a few different technicians, and we do at the Oral Health Foundation as well. And artists is 100% the right way to describe it. They like look so beautiful and like realistic, these like false teeth that people have made that you would never in a million years know that it wasn't someone's natural tooth, like when
Hmm.
you look at it. And when you say about like shade matching, that's so important. Like if someone's got slightly yellower teeth, they maybe don't want a bright white front tooth because
Hmm.
then it's not going to look like it matches. But yeah.
That's definitely my favorite cases is to make a denture say that you would never know it was a denture because it's
Hmm.
matching the what's already there. A lot of people would like, that gap in between their front teeth, things like that. So yeah, that's my favorite cases to work on is cases that you would never even know I did anything.
I wonder if that's do you guys get like, oh, this person really wants their front tooth chipped because it was before, but I don't want to do it that way, and you kind of have to add them imperfections in on their request, or is that like a how common is that?
Yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, it's what the patient wants.
Hmm.
Nowadays, it's much more led by patients and how they want it. So I get a lot of photos of people. So maybe they're older now and they're getting a denture, but they want their teeth to look like how they were when they were 20. So I get a lot of like old photos sent in that I've got to try and copy,
Hmm.
so that they can have that. I've also had a few cases where we've had dentures where they've wanted diamonds put in their lateral teeth, so their second tooth. So it's little things like that that's really quite fun.
Hmm.
So again, yeah, it's really however the patient wants their teeth to look is we can usually do it.
That's good to know.
Mhm.
What would you kind of say if someone's wanting to kind of get into this space, like thinking about as well where technology is going to take the role in say 10, 15 years? What would you
Mhm.
say to someone that's maybe thinking, "Oh, I could do that. I think that sounds cool."
Mhm. Well, that's something that's kind of changed over the years as well. In the past, it was much more of an apprenticeship, I would say. People would leave school at 16 and go to the lab and get taught by other technicians. But like the rest of the team, technicians are regulated professionals, registered with the General Dental Council. Um, and this involvement is now a degree course, so that you can find a course. You can either do that full time at university, or like I had a placement in a lab and then I travelled to university once a month, and sat my exams and did like theory work up there. So
Hmm.
there's kind of your two routes to go into it. Um, the advancements of dental technology now, we're getting a lot of people wanting to enter the field that are maybe more interested in the computing side, like designers, like architects, things like that would use this sort of software um, for other jobs are kind of moving into this field because it is so much more digital. For example, like personally, I live in Orkney, which is like a tiny island right at the top of Scotland.
Hmm.
And the advancements in digital technologies allowed me to move home. So I live in Orkney and then I control the computers and the milling machines in Edinburgh.
Wow.
So that is something that would never have been possible about a decade ago. But yeah, that's probably why I love the dental technology, like the digital, so much more, because it really gives you so much more freedom than technicians ever had. Um, yeah, so it's definitely, there's so much more scope of things to do. So it's a really, really exciting time to get involved in dental technology, and it's really a career that needs more technicians. Um, there's there's less and less technicians now than there used to be. So would definitely, yeah, recommend people going in, get in touch and see. There's loads of information you can find in universities that do the courses.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, just do a bit of research and you'll see how exciting it is.
Absolutely. Where do you think, like, if you could have it perfect tomorrow, where do you think you would want technology to kind of take the space?
Oh,
I love the fact you can control your lab from home, by the way. That is
yeah.
incredible.
I mean, I was thinking that. It's like that would be, I always wanted to be able to move back home and be with my family and friends, and I did that. So for me, that is peak
Hmm.
technology. Um, but no, I think softwares are getting better and better. So you can be quite happily ticking along with your software you've got, and then suddenly they'll get an upgrade, and you're like, how did I ever work like it used to be? So we don't really know what's coming, but it's just getting better and better every year, every upgrade that we get brought in. I'm trying to think of what I would like.
That's quite a nice answer, though. That it's already
Yeah.
kind of great.
Oh,
Is
God.
yeah. No, that's really cool. Um, Within obviously a field that's really quite specialized, do you get people that are like, I only want to do dentures, or I only want to do
Hmm.
orthodontics, or I'll only do really like specialist kind of things, and sort of go even more niche in the role?
Mhm. Absolutely. So I would say most technicians have their speciality. So for me, it's dentures.
Hmm.
That's what I do. That's what I design all day. Then you've got other technicians that would go into crown and bridge. So if you imagine something that will be cemented into your mouth that you can't get out, that tends to be another speciality. And then you've got people that do braces and um, like orthodontic appliances, so things that while you're going down that route, that's
Hmm.
not my interest, so I'm not the best in that. But yeah, with this is another thing when it comes to dental technology and the advances in digital technology is back before we had our computers, a, a technician that made dentures wouldn't know how, well, they would be taught initially how to do a crown, but that's not something that they would do. And they probably wouldn't be able to just pick up a crown and design one because it's such a different scope of practice.
Mm.
Whereas now with computers, you'd now get technicians that would do a lot more. So say I would do dentures. So that say that's like a full arch of teeth. Whereas that's with a computer, it's very easy then to turn that into an implant bridge. It's basically the same design, although this one's on implants. So technicians now are becoming a lot more niche afterwards. Um, so there is slightly more crossover, but that's only really been possible um, with the digital side of things.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would still say that most technicians fall under the bracket of, removable, fixed, and orthodontics.
Hmm.
Um, but there's definitely now with digital side of things, there's slightly more crossover than there ever has been.
Hmm. That's really good to hear as well. Like if you know, one day you decided, oh, I want to try and get back into that, it wouldn't be such a big, I'm not necessarily starting from the beginning, but starting to think a different way. You can just adjust your designs thanks to, software
Mhm,
and
mhm.
changes with that. That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's things really good things about university and stuff. If you didn't know what you wanted to do, universities give you the full scope of what you want, what you can do. And then you kind of pick what you prefer and pick what you don't like at all, like
Hmm.
orthodontics.
Hmm.
And yeah. So it's just really interesting in that sense that yeah, things are starting to merge a bit more than they ever did.
Mm-hmm. So before we kind of finish up for today, is there anything that you want to highlight about your role and why you love it that we haven't necessarily mentioned, or anything you want to shout about dental technology or anything really?
Yeah, no, I'm just really, really excited to be able to kind of tell people about dental technology and dental technicians. Like I said, it's not a profession that gets nearly enough publicity because we are kind of more in the lab. We're not, kids will go into a dentist and see the dentist and see the nurses and like, oh, I want to be a dental nurse, I want to be a dentist. But nobody really, kids especially, don't go into the lab and see technicians. And it's not a career that's spoken about really.
Mm-hmm.
You either need to know a technician or you need to kind of find a way about it. So it's really exciting to say we are here, and it's a really, really good job. I love it, and I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else now. Yeah, so with continuous advancements in dental technology, we're just really excited to see what's coming up, and I think it's such an exciting time to get involved in dental technology, and go and visit a lab if you want to go and see what's happening at most labs. If you're around Edinburgh, come in and see us, and we'd love to kind of show you around.
I love that. Um, yeah, it's been so interesting talking to you and learning about it. Um, and yeah, really grateful. And I hope that people take you up on that and go and visit your lab or go and visit a lab that's near them. I always wanted to go in and have a little look. So I might actually give them a ring and be like,
Yeah.
can I come
Don't
and
tell them I
help us
sent
by?
you, but I think most technicians would love to talk about it and to show off their work, because it's something that we're proud of and that we love to do.
Business is booming, but you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think spreadsheets were just part of it. Ugh. But real-time cash flow? Wow. Invoices that chase themselves? Even better. Books that automate? That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No spreadsheet in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search Xero for your free trial. Conditions apply.
While every other channel is fighting for your customers' attention, podcasts are where they've already given it. No one accidentally listens to a podcast for 45 minutes. They choose to be here. They trust the voice in their ears, and when that voice talks about your brand, it doesn't sound like advertising. It sounds like a recommendation from a friend. Acast gives you that trust at scale. Digital precision, host-read authenticity, and performance data that proves it worked. Don't fight for attention. Buy it with Acast. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.